So hello and welcome to the Profit Project interview series. And today we're going to be talking all about generating growth in business. And I'm super excited to have the awesome James Short from Goals Tribe on the line here today to talk about exactly that. So welcome, James.
Mate, really appreciate it, Craig. Thanks for having me on. I am pumped and ready to go.
Yeah, that's awesome, James. I know you're always pumped and ready to go. I've seen you in action and we've known each other for quite a bit of time now. And yeah, it's why I wanted to get you on here, because I know you're going to be able to share so many great little stories and insights for people as they grow their businesses. But I'm always very curious of the backstory around, how did you actually start in business yourself? What was your why? Why did you get started? And how has that got you to where you are today?
Mate, I love this question. I love it because it really shows people's history, shows people's journey, shows the scars, the ups and downs, the lefts and rights. And, I remember back in, showing my age now, but back in the years, still at school, and I loved sport. I loved fitness, had a few injuries, unfortunately, playing rugby. And I thought, oh, this is cool. I love the training side of things. And what's this personal training stuff? And this is going back in, the early 90s, 1990s, that is. And looking back, and at the age of 17, I went and whilst I was still at school, and I studied my ACHPA exam. Now, this was the old fitness qualifications back in the day. And I started working, and I started my first business at the age of 17 in the fitness industry. And I left school, studied sports science at university, and I continued to grow that business. And we had, a bunch of trainers working for me throughout Sydney. And then I teamed up with a mate of mine who I went to uni with, and we opened our first gymnasium. It wasn't Globo Gym. It wasn't a PT studio. It was sort of that in between. And we had some great success back then. We had numerous business awards, numerous industry awards. And we always had a vision to roll out this type of model all across the eastern seaboard of Australia. And I remember I've always had a business coach in all my businesses. Even today, I work with a couple of coaches. And I remember the time is 2008. That's right, 2008. And we sat down for our planning session. We had, the manager. We had a couple of centers. We had the managers. We had the sales team, the trainers. And I thought, all right, let's go. We're going to roll this out. And here we go. And my business partner at the time goes, yeah, nah. I said, well, what do you mean? Yeah, nah. He goes, I'm just happy where we're at. I said, well, what do you mean? I said, well, mate, we're earning some good money and I'm not working too much. I'm training. I said, but that wasn't part of our plan. He goes, nah. I said, well, that's not going to work. Well, what are we going to do? And we're back and forth. And he said, well, what would it be like if I bought you out? I said, well, let's entertain that idea. And so within 4 hours, it came up with the heads of agreement, and I was selling my share. And the coach at the time goes, man, I've never seen in 15 years of coaching, I've never seen that happen so quickly. I said, well, listen, if you're not aligned to the same vision, well, what's the point? And that's a big crossroads in my business journey, because it's like, well, I labeled myself as Mr. Fitness. I was on all these councils and all these committees and boards and all that kind of stuff within the industry. And now I'm out of, it's like, whoa, well, who am I? And I always loved the coaching component, and I love helping people. And I thought, well, based on my journey, based on growing the business, based on the personal development growth that I've done in the past, what would it be like if I ran a bit of a pilot program of helping people achieve their goals? So I got 10 people together, and we met every fortnight, and every fortnight I put some more tools and techniques to help them to achieve their goals and their growth within themselves and their business, and to hold them accountable to the activities that they set out they wanted to achieve. And there was one guy in particular throughout this 4-month period, and he was an interior designer, and he had this opportunity come across his table. Now, if you think back 2008, 2009, of reality TV shows just starting out, right? And it was a reality TV show, and he was really hesitant, but the group goes, you know what, go for it. And he went on the show and he came second. And his original goal was to be Australia's most recognized interior designer as one of his goals when he started the group. And fast forward today, and that gentleman is named Darren Palmer. And Darren now, if you may or may not know, he's the judge on the Block TV show. He's got all these national sponsorship and contracts and so forth. And I saw him a couple of months ago, and he goes, I remember that first, group coaching model. And that sort of started the journey around the coaching and the training that we do now. And fast forward to the now is we really help those business owners, particularly in the real estate, the property space, build their, what we call their $1 million teams, but help them to grow and lead and inspire themselves and their teams and the people around them.
Yeah, that's such an awesome story. And that's what I say, I love hearing that. And I know I've heard a good chunk of that in the past, but I just love people sharing their stories. So that is really, really appreciate that. And you can see the passion that you've had when you kicked off. As a 17-year-old, there's so much going on, and would have water gone under the bridge since then. I guess you've already touched upon a couple of little challenges that you had: the alignment of business partners, which is a very common issue when people do have business partners in business. But what other challenges have you sort of experienced? And you touched on a few of the mindset sort of things there as well. What do you find with your own businesses? As you've gone and you've evolved and you've morphed and changed over time, but also, now you do work with, hundreds of business owners over the years. What are some of the common themes that you've seen as well with the challenges that they're facing in growing their business?
I think for me, there's two fronts on that I'd like to discuss. One for my own challenges is the ability to be authentic. And what I mean by that is, if I don't believe in something, why should I preach something? If I'm not practicing, why should I preach it? And, it was funny. I just got off the phone call from a client, and he goes, what are you doing? I said, mate, doing the do. He goes, far out, man. He goes, I'm seeing your videos everywhere, on all platforms, and you're getting posted and shared. And he goes, I said, mate, that's why I practice what I preach. Where's your videos? He goes, I know, they're coming. And so it's practicing what you preach. And that's where that leading by example is such a core belief for myself. And I think then on the other side, on the client side, what we notice is even though they've got some great plans and strategies and so forth, what usually gets in the road for them to achieve their growth is themselves, is getting them out of their own space and allowing their team to come through and take ownership and empowerment and thinking that they need to do everything themselves. And that's what I love is getting them to have a look at themselves and that realization of where are my roadblocks? What are my beliefs that are really holding me back? And then, because we've got the strategy is so there, it's crystal clear, but it's like, hey, well, why isn't the strategy working? What is that roadblock that we need to unpack and release so you can achieve that excellence? Not just, and this is where I love it, because what happens is that people come to me and goes, I want to grow business. And literally within 4 weeks, I've got either the partner on the other line, I'm talking to the psychologist, because it's not all about business. I'm a big believer your business world is related to your personal world, and your personal world is related to your business world, and it's closely entwined. If you don't have if you don't have your shit in order, then it's going to come back and bite you on the backside. And because, you can be out there achieving some great business success, but if you haven't enrolled your family, then your family may not be there. If you've got so much emphasis on the family and you're going to be there 24/7, well, you don't have a business. So it's that constant communication we need to have, one within ourselves that work on our own stuff, but then communication with the people around us. It could be the team, could be your managers, it could be even, and obviously your loved ones. So everyone's got singing on the same page from the same book.
Yeah, so true. And, you bring me back to actually, I presented at one of your tribe events a while ago now. And, I sat in for the remainder of the day. And I remember one of the exercises, Think This Day, which sort of aligns with that. And it's the exercise of, what's your business look like now in revenue terms? And, okay, now multiply that by 5, I think it was. And, then you had the exercise where people had to, okay, what does your business look like there? And what does life look like there? And people are all writing that down. And then you went through the process, okay, well, it's times it by 5 again. And you see everybody in the room sort of look at each other. Some people are like, yeah, writing it out. Some people are not. And I had that whole mindset shift. But I think what you touched on there is, that's a great exercise, number one, for opening up the mind for growth and the mindset side of things. But also, addressing each of those points that you've just touched upon there of saying, well, yes, what does the business look like there? But also, well, what might life look like if we did go to that level? Because all those issues, the dynamics do change in our personal life, our thinking. Is everybody on board? That's whether it's the business partner, whether it's the family. So
That's so true, because and that's is the shift in paradigm. Like that exercise that we went through was a shift in paradigm, and I share a story around that. Like I'm an ultra endurance athlete, and well, what does that mean? Well, I'm a crazy person that runs 100 plus Ks in an event. Why would someone do that? You may be asking yourself. There's many reasons, and I've done a documentary on it. So, but I want to get to this point. It has never been that same way. My first run, I remember, like I'm flat-footed, I'm stocky, I've got bad knees. Why would someone want to do that? And it's been a journey. Like my first run, I remember back years ago, was the City to Surf in Sydney. It was the 14 Ks from the city to Bondi Beach. And then from mates being, a couple of bets here and a couple of bets there, went to a half marathon, went to a marathon, went to a couple of triathlons, and then Ironmans. And then I went to an event where it's like, well, what else? How can I else, go up and step on another level? And my first 100K that I did in the Blue Mountains many years ago, I was like freaking out. But then what happened, I started hanging around these other crazy cats that 100Ks is their norm. And what happened was a paradigm shift for me of now the 100Ks being a new norm. So whenever I was speaking to someone who their longest run was 12Ks, they couldn't understand what would it be like or take to run 100Ks. Now, fast forward to now, like last year, the year before, I just completed a 250K run over 6 days. Once again, another paradigm shift. So if you can do that with exercise, if you can have the paradigm shift with exercise and doing these crazy events, I think to myself, well, why is that? It's the power of who you surround yourself with and shifting that paradigm and becoming a new norm. But then imagine now taking that into all areas of your life, taking that into your business, taking that into your relationships, taking that into your health, taking that with your finances. So the question is if your environment is so powerful and you become a product of your environment, what is your environment now looking like now? Who are you hanging around with? Who are the crazy cats in that business growth? Who are the crazy cats in the relationships, in the finances? And why aren't you hanging around those people who are going to shift your paradigm and push you to achieve more in all those areas of life?
Yeah, that's such powerful sort of little nuggets coming out there that I love, and you touch on some interesting things, and you touched upon it in the earlier part as well. I'm in a similar boat. Always got a business coach or two at any given point in time to be able to do that, have that growth and the mindset open up and getting those different perspectives and those sorts of things. So I guess, again, very interested in your experience from obviously doing that yourself as well as coaching other people in a similar space as well. What are the benefits and outcomes? And you've already alluded to the power of that as well. But, what are the outcomes that you see, and you've seen some of those transformations that take place?
I've seen business owners, I'll give you an example, like before this whole COVID stuff went down, had a client come to me, goes, you know what, he's got two businesses. He's got a landscaping business and a buyer's agency business. And he goes, oh, mate, you know what, I think I might just shut shop with the buyer's agency stuff. I can't see it happening. I might just focus on the landscaping. I said, no, you're not. He goes, what do you mean? I said, mate, you're stepping up and you're going to take things to another level. He goes, well, what do you mean? I said, no, you've got the resources, you've got the leadership, you know what you're doing, you're excellent at what you're doing. Step up and make a difference. He goes, oh, okay. I spoke to him last week. He goes, mate, I just want to say thank you. He goes, I have never been as busy as I am in my buyer's agency business. I'm doing deals left, right, and center. I'm actually recruiting because I need more help to put it all together. And so it's looking at that as just one of many examples of thinking, oh, I'm on the edge. And like, no, sometimes you just need to slap around and just call it how it is, and to step up and to really step into that leadership. We've had clients with huge success of going from one offices to 5 offices in a short period of time, over 2 years. One client going from 1 office to 8 offices over 3 years, going from 10 staff to 100 staff. So there's multiple different areas, but it's really, people get into business for three main things. They either want more money, more meaning, or more freedom. And when we look at our planning, we look at those three things. Sometimes you want them more, which is totally fine. But how do we measure those three things? And so we've had, clients go from working 6 days a week down to 3 days a week. We've had more, people putting together books and podcasts and interview series so they can actually share more and be more. So it's so many different results and successes that we've had based on those three key areas.
Yeah, that's awesome. And yeah, can't agree more with how you sort of sum that up. What I've experienced and what I've seen of you and what you've done with people as well. Just the mindset side of things, but also then layering that in to taking action at the end of the day, which is obviously, I know I've been there in the past. It's like, I've got all these big, grand, lofty ambitions, and you see these things, and it's like, okay, how do you then actually break that down and go, once you actually get it in the mindset aligned with the action taking, it's amazing the outcomes that people can see. So in coming sort of, I'd like to keep this short and sharp so people get lots of good stuff out of it as well. If you just sort of give one or two tips and sort of just breaking all that down into actionable, talking about tips and ideas that people could implement off the back of watching this sort of interview here today, what would they be to get people started on a path to the growth and mindset?
I'm going to say it's the D word, which is discipline. Yeah. Now, there's certain areas in your life that you are truly disciplined. It could be brushing your teeth. It could be getting up in the morning. It could be reading a book. It could be making your sales calls. It could be whatever it is. But there's one area in your life that you are truly disciplined. Now, the question is, why aren't you disciplined in multiple areas? And this is where most business owners fall down, because we usually can have the best excuses and the reasons why not to, because we've even tried it. We may have tried it before, it didn't work. Well, did you really try it? Oh, you've heard about it before and it doesn't work for so-and-so. Well, have you really tried it? Oh yeah. And the excuses are amazing when it comes to business owners. So the question is the discipline. Have you been disciplined in the key areas? Like yourself, have you been disciplined in relations to knowing your numbers and tracking your numbers and sticking to those numbers? Have you been disciplined in order to making those calls, following up on those calls? Have you been disciplined in servicing your clients over and over again? Do you have systems and structures that allow you to be disciplined? Do you have discipline at home? Do you have discipline in your health? Do you have discipline in your relationships? Discipline is the biggest factor of why people succeed and why people fail. Either way. So if you're more disciplined, the more success will come your way. Listen, business success is not rocket science. It's just positive activity compounded over time. We know the impact of compound interest, but it's the discipline of the activity compounding over time will achieve your results hand down. Positive activity compounding over time, that requires discipline. You know how to do discipline because there's an area in your life that you are disciplined, just got to multiply it across other avenues of your life. There we go.
Yeah, that's a golden ticket there. And, you're speaking right to my heart. Obviously, with what I do, it's all about discipline, routine, set it in motion, do the activities, and you're exactly right. Compounds over time and frees you up to focus on the next thing as well. So really appreciate you sharing your time and knowledge here on the call, James. Where can people find you? And as you touched upon, I know I see you because we're connected and I see you in all sorts of channels, but I'd love for you to share where can people find you and what's your best way to get engaged with you and your communities.
Mate, love to. So website, jamesshort.com.au, or on any of the socials, just search Coach James Short and reach out. Happy to help. Happy to answer any questions and here to help, here to serve.
Yeah, awesome. It's great to have you on the call, and we'll put all those show notes and all the connection in different places that people can find along with this as this goes out live. And if you do want to reach out, can highly recommend, get in touch with James, having a chat, because even you can see just from a short call here, the way that your mind can be opened up. I know I've got plenty of value from, all the different conversations that we've had at a time. So I really appreciate both those times and conversations that we've constantly had, but also you sharing with the audience here today as well, James.
Thanks, mate. Much appreciated. Thanks, Craig.
No worries. And if you want any more videos and interviews just like this one here today, make sure you continue to follow us at theprofitproject.com.au. Till next time. Bye.